Well, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Michael's Community Classroom and specifically the Let's Paint Live class with Emma tonight. So a special treat. Emma has not done one of the Monday night classes with this group before. So those of you who are joining us among our regulars, you'll get a new experience this evening. And but she has done a bunch of other of the Michael's classes, which you can check out in the library. So as Jimena just said, we are recording the class. So if you do feel like the pace gets a little bit fast and you'd prefer to just kind of watch a little bit tonight and then go back and paint at your own pace, you can do that, or you can certainly paint along, and we will do our best to try and keep it at a pace where we keep things moving, but are allowing people to paint along. So I'm here answering questions. If you have any, put them in the chat and I will pass them along to Emma. And otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. So Emma is going to be painting a Sunset Bay this evening, and I'll hand it to you.
All right, thanks, John. So again, hi, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be here and to be teaching you all how to paint Sunset Bay tonight. Like John said, it's my first Let's Paint Monday night with Michael. So I'm super excited and I want to thank you guys for having me tonight. So like John said, if you decide to paint along with me tonight and then post your creations on social media, make sure to hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag Plaid Crafts. We also have a really great Facebook group called Let's Paint with Plaid, where people just like you share their paintings of all different skill levels, and everyone is so welcoming and so supportive. So if you would paint your painting tonight and want to share it with people who also love to paint, make sure to post it to the Let's Paint with Plaid group on Facebook. Without further ado, let's get started, you guys. So of course, all of these, I almost said ingredients, all of these supplies can be found at Michael's. So let's go along and I'll tell you what everything is. So first you're gonna need a 10 by 10 canvas. It can honestly be 12 by 12, 6 by 6, any square canvas will do. And we say it should be a square canvas, but honestly, it could be any size canvas. It can be a rectangle canvas, any shape you like. The great thing about this painting is that it's so versatile. So really whatever you have at home or whatever you like the best at Michael's, you can pick that up and definitely paint this painting. Next, we listed a Craft Smart brush pack. You just need a good grouping of flat brushes. So if you don't have the Craft Smart brush pack, then you can just grab a bunch of different size flat brushes, but the Craft Smart pack is amazing as well. Next, you are going to need some Cardinal red, titanium white, midnight, and I should say too, these are all FolkArt acrylic paints, school bus yellow, light blue, and one of my favorites, Cayman blue. Okay, next you're gonna need some Mod Podge Ultra. So if this is a little bit different than what you're probably used to if you've been to our paint classes before. We are going to get into a little bit of the mixed media scene tonight with some Mod Podge. And it's totally optional. So if you are not into the mixed media stuff, if you are really just a painter, then you'll still have fun painting along with me tonight. We don't have to add this cool detail, but it is really cool. And I hope you stay for that because I'm excited to show you guys how to do it. It's a cool technique. So of course your Mod Podge Ultra, and then you're going to need some craft sand, or a great thing about this project too, is a great way to preserve some memories. So it is beach season. The weather's getting warmer. People are going on more beach trips, or maybe you live by the beach. So maybe pick up some sand on your beach trip, pick up some seashells, and really preserve those memories in a really unique way. Also, you can get these at Michael's. So I see that question, will regular Mod Podge work? It will work, not as well as the Mod Podge Ultra, because the Mod Podge Ultra really, really stiffens whatever material you're mixing it with. So I would prefer, I would recommend the Mod Podge Ultra over regular Mod Podge. If you were using regular Mod Podge, I would apply the Mod Podge, sprinkle the sand, and then tap off the excess, but I'm going to show you a different technique that you can't do with regular Mod Podge with our Mod Podge Ultra. Any other questions, John, before we really get started?
And there's always questions every time about different colors and if they don't have an exact color. So when we get to each one, Emma can help you figure out how to get a color if you don't have the exact one. But generally speaking, guys, I mean, it's your painting, and you know, we all know that every sunset is a little bit different and every bay looks a little bit different. So if your shade of blue is different than the one she has, or if your shade of red's a little different, that's totally fine. It's going to look great no matter what. So don't worry about that.
Yes, definitely. So let's get started, you guys. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to grab our titanium, I love that, I can't speak, titanium white, and we're going to apply that to our palette. Okay, we're looking for like a 2/4 sizes of paint. And now we're going to squirt some Cardinal red onto our palette. And some school bus yellow. I love the school bus yellow color. It's like a really rich, warm yellow. It's one of my favorites. And I'm just realizing now it kind of looks like ketchup and mustard. Okay, so we are going to take just the tip of our brush, the edge, and we're going to scoop up a little bit of red. We're going to add it to our white, and then we're going to flip it around so we don't mix our yellow into our red. You see what I just did there? And we're going to take that edge and we're going to mix our yellow and our red directly into our white. And so what we're looking for in this mixture is a really light, pretty coral color. And this is going to be one of the colors that make up our sunset tonight on Sunset Bay. It sounds so relaxing just saying it.
It does.
Okay,
Week, on Sunset Bay, we will find out if Brock will finally propose to Mary.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you see it's kind of like a light tapioca-y color. We probably want to make it a little bit more orangey. So that means we have too much white and too much yellow. So let's add a little bit more red. And if you're just now joining us, you guys, we mixed about 2/4 sizes of titanium white with just a touch of Cardinal red and school bus yellow. And so if you don't have Cardinal red or school bus yellow at home, you could go just straight in with a really light coral color. Or you could lighten an orange color with some white. Whenever I'm painting, and this is just a good idea if you ever want to join us for a Michael's paint night class, it's always good to have some white on hand, because if you have, you know, your primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, then you can make pretty much anything. And it's always good to have that white along with you. Okay, so now that we mix this into a really pretty coral color, I'm just going to wipe off some of the excess. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark off. And so again, we're looking for a really subtle coral color. We're going to mark off the horizon line of our beach tonight. So we just want to half our square canvas. And how I like to do that is I like to hold my brush perpendicularly to my canvas. I'd like to hold it directly above it, and I'm gonna just go whoop, make that line. Okay, and now what we're gonna do, I'll hold this right next to me so you guys can get a better look. A finished painting here. We are gonna go ahead and we are going to paint this bottom half of our sunset with our coral color. Just go straight on. And this, I should have said this is a 3/4 inch flat brush. If you don't have that, you can use a 1-inch flat brush. Any larger size flat brush will work great. So we are gonna go about halfway up here, okay? And honestly, if you don't mix your colors totally, if you have little bursts of red that appear from when you mix the red, or little bursts of yellow that appear when you're brushing on your color, I like that. I think it really adds to the organic look of the sunset, and it looks more realistic, like how a sunset really would look. Okay, so now we're gonna rinse our brush. And let me grab some paper towels. Every time I do a Michael's class, I forget at least one thing. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to, of course, dry off our brush. And we are going to apply some FolkArt light blue onto our palette, this really pretty subtle blue color. Ooh. Okay. Any questions, John?
I don't think so. I mean, most folks are just wondering about, different colors and so on. And like we've talked about, guys, it's okay. If you don't have the exact color that she's using, it's totally fine. So if you have any, if you have a white and any kind of a yellow and a red, you can mix up a nice little coral color like that.
Absolutely. Okay, so now for this next part, we are going to paint our light blue. We're kind of making like a trifle almost. We're making layers of color right now. And we don't need to worry about blending these colors right away. We just want to make these layers of color first. And the brush I'm using, I see that comment, is a 3/4 inch flat brush. But you can use a 1 inch flat brush. Any larger sized flat brush will work great for these steps.
Great. And which color blue is this that you used today?
And this is FolkArt light blue.
Okay, there we go.
Any light blue color will work great. If you don't have a light blue color and you have the midnight that we're also using in this paint class tonight, you can use your titanium white and just add a touch of midnight. That would be fine too.
Sure.
I hope you guys enjoy painting along with me tonight. The great thing about these Michael's paint night classes, we always say that people from all skill levels will really enjoy painting along with us, and anybody can do our paintings in just about an hour. But I feel like this one is extra true. It is really, really simple, and really, really anybody can do it. Okay, so now here's a little tip that I'd like to give you guys when you are blending two colors together. So we want to make sure that our two colors that we do want to blend together, we want to make sure that they are super wet. So how to do that is we are going to apply a little bit more paint onto the areas where the colors will meet. So you see how that area is a little bit more thick with paint. We just want to get those areas, we want to paint them generously, almost like we are creating texture there. We just want to put a lot of paint there because I found that that is a great way to help your colors blend together. So we're going to rinse our 1 inch brush and dry it off. And we are going to apply some of this mixed peachy, apricot-y, corally color. And we're going to do the same thing right where the peach meets the blue. We're going to apply more paint. Okay. Okay, now we're not going to even rinse our brush. We're going to start from the bottom and we're going to pick up that paint and we're going to blend these two colors together just by going back and forth. If you need help, pick up some water from your water basin, just some clean water from the sink, and just carry it up and down.
So Emma, do you want to start with like the lighter one and then go into the darker, or can you start at the top and come down? Does it matter?
It does not matter at all. It is totally up to you.
Okay.
And if you're having trouble blending the colors together, just pick up some more water. Water is your best friend when you're blending. We want those colors to look like they really are a part of the sky. And we want it to look as natural and blended as possible. So we really want to work on the part where they meet together and make that as seamless as possible.
Sure. Hey, Emma, can you just bump a little bit to your right and then bring in the painting a little bit more? That's it.
Sure.
Yeah, because folks want to see. There we go.
And if you've ever joined me on a Michael's class before, you will know how messy I am. And yes, I did just get specks of watered down paint on my finished painting, but that's okay. The great thing about the Mod Podge Ultra that we're going to use tonight is that it's a great sealer. So if I were smart enough to have sprayed this with Mod Podge Ultra, I would be able to wipe off this painting with just a wet rag, and it would have worked great. Okay, so these two colors are blended together. Look how beautiful. So beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we are going to do the same technique again. Now you guys are really, really good at this technique. And so we get to do it again to show off your skills. We're going to rinse our brush again. And we are going to introduce a new color to our palette. We're gonna put on our palette Cayman blue. And if you don't have Cayman blue, an aqua would work great. Teal would work great. There's some really pretty like aqua-y colors at Michael's. And you guys can kind of see this sunset is a little bit more yellow. I was just feeling a little bit more red tonight. So if you want to make your sunset a little bit more orangey, add yellow. If you want to make it a little bit more pink like this one, add more red. That's the great thing about painting landscapes like this. You can really match the colors to meet your vision you have in your head, or maybe a photo that you love from a vacation or a place that reminds you of home. Okay. So next we're going to do the same thing again, but instead of our light blue on the top and our mixed customized color on the bottom, we're going to do Cayman blue on the top and our light blue on the bottom. Okay, we're going to.
For those of you who are stressed about making the exact color that she made, you can see that the two different paintings that she's done have different color skies, and either one looks great. So just make up a nice color and it's going to be great.
Yes, if you what was I saying? If you want your sunset to look a little bit more orange, like I said, add more yellow. If you want it to look more peachy and rosy, add more red. Okay, so we are going to continue with the Cayman blue on our top bottom half. Okay, so something to be mindful of, you guys. See how we have all this sand right here? So we want to include our light blue a little bit earlier than we included this rose color. So we want to start our light blue about right here, not quite halfway down, unlike how we did the top half, because our light blue is going to be hidden if we don't start applying it to our canvas now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and rinse our brush.
We'll give everybody a chance to catch up once she shows you while she's blending her colors. We'll give everybody a chance to catch up just a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
No worries.
So yes, so far, just to recap, we blended those colors. We just applied some Cayman blue. We're about to apply some light blue. We're not going to blend it yet. We're just applying the light blue. And then I'm going to show you how to blend again in case you missed it the first time. And then we're going to blow dry our canvas to lock it in place. So you'll have plenty of time to catch up. Don't worry. Add your light blue.
I can see all kinds of people painting along, so this is great. I'm glad to see that.
Awesome.
Always fun.
I wish I could see, but you guys, seriously, if you decide to post your paintings on social media, make sure to hashtag plaid crafts and make it with Michael's. I will be looking at those hashtags and I would love to see your paintings.
There's a lot of folks on tonight. Big class. We have like 565 people. That's a lot.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm so happy to be painting with you guys tonight. Okay, so our top part is Cayman blue, our bottom part is light blue, and now we are going to blend them together just like we did our top half. Does that make sense? So because you guys are all pros now, you already know how to blend. So we are going to apply more of our light blue right to the edge where it meets our Cayman blue, and we're going to, almost like we're trying to apply texture, we want to apply a lot of paint. That's going to help us blend. And now we're going to rinse our brush. And since we started with our light color before and we had some questions, could I blend with my dark color first? You absolutely can. and I'll show you how. Picking up our Cayman blue, applying a little bit more of it just to kind of reanimate our paint. Okay, we're gonna just offload some of that paint, and we're gonna start at the top now and move down, picking up our light blue as we go. And we're just gonna move up and down, blending those two colors together, maybe even picking up some of our water just to help it blend. We don't want too much, okay? We don't want it dripping, but we just want it where it looks kind of like it's glistening on our brush with that water dripping off of it. Perfect.
It's cool because even though it's not fully blended yet, it really looks like water because you get that little bit of white and blue streaks, and it really has that nice movement. So it's great.
Thanks, John.
Love it.
Okay, and honestly, the best part about paintings where there's a lot of ombre and a lot of really like natural blendiness, you can stop when you want. You know, if you like it right now, you're done, you're good to go. But if you want to keep working it a little bit more, it is up to you, and you can work it as long as you want. Just keep adding water to your brush. If you're not satisfied, that'll keep it wet and malleable, movable, paintable. But I like where we're at right now. So let's go ahead and rinse our brush. And
so someone was asking if the light blue goes all the way to the bottom, which I think the answer is yes. But of course, at the very bottom, if you show again the painting, Emma, the finished one, you'll see that the bottom's going to end up being covered by the sand. So
yeah, so it's really
it
up to you.
probably doesn't matter what's under there.
Yeah. Good point, John. It's really up to you. I put my light blue all the way down to the bottom because it's a little bit easier since we're already blending all the way, might as well hit the bottom. But you can leave that space white later because we are going to add some of our a different color to replicate that sand. But yeah, good question. So now I'm going to go ahead and blow dry this, and hopefully you all can catch up with me a little bit while we're blow drying.
Yeah, we'll give everybody a chance. Janetta, I agree with you. It does look like a wave has just broken there, like just the way the colors are and everything. It looks great.
Okay, you guys, so now that our painting is totally dry, we're going to move on to our next step. Okay, so now we're going to introduce a new paint color to our palette. We're going to break out our FolkArt acrylic Midnight and add that down to our palette. And if you don't have Midnight, navy blue would be a great substitution. If you have a really dark brown or a really dark gray, we just want a darker scaled color to use for this next step. Okay. So for this next step, you're either going to want like a number 10 flat or a 1/2 inch flat brush, just kind of a smaller flat brush. Okay. And what we're going to do, remember how we did before? We held our paintbrush perpendicular to our canvas, and we used the edge of our brush to make a straight line like this. We're going to do that again, but now with our Midnight. And we're going to recreate that horizon line, but this time we're not going to cover it up with paint. That's what it's going to look like. This is my favorite way to make a straight line. If you have a way that you prefer, if you prefer using a small round brush or a small liner brush, then you are welcome to use that, of course. I just like using the edge of a small flat brush. I just find that I have the most control over how straight my line is. Okay, and that's pretty straight. That's pretty good.
That is
Don't
pretty
you
good.
think so? Okay.
You know what? I think this one might be a first. Kaylin said to me, can you give me a shout out? So like, I don't know that I've ever actually had a direct request for a shout out before here in the Michael's classroom. So shout out to you, Kaylin.
Hey, Kaylin, we're happy you're painting with us tonight. Okay, so we're going to continue with our midnight, and we're going to apply more of our paint to our brush. And now what we're going to do is we're going to, John and I, before this class, we were debating what we wanted to call this part of the painting. We wouldn't call it mountains, but it's kind of like a hillside. John said maybe it's like some sand dunes. So I'm going to leave this up to all of you
I feel
guys.
like sand dunes, now that I'm seeing it again, is not good. Maybe a rocky shoreline is better than sand dunes.
I think that's what I was going for, John, but I didn't have a name for it.
Yes,
Cliff. That's a great.
Yes, a peninsula is good, or a cliff. The cliff,
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a cliff.
Yeah, it definitely is a cliff. So you guys are all way smarter than us at home.
Thank you.
We're artists over here, so not like critical thinkers.
Okay. Also, a bluff is a good choice. These are so good. The bluffs, the cliffs, whatever.
Yes. Thank you guys, because I would have been thinking about that one for a long time. So we're going to paint our cliffs / bluffs / bay areas. And what we're going to do is we're going to go off of our horizon line. And the first thing I want to do, and I'll try to hold this here so that you guys can get a good photo for reference. We are going to just create kind of the outline of this, okay? And one thing I want you guys to be mindful of at home, we don't want big valleys and big like V shapes. We want this to look natural and like it is just kind of like dull rocks, like the waves have been washing up against the rocks. We don't want that sharpness. Okay, so what we want to do is we just want to create this outline. We're not going to fill it in yet, and I'm still going to use my small flat brush, and I'm going to use that to draw with, okay? Kind of like swiveling my brush as I go up and down. Does that make sense, John?
I think so, yes. We're going to watch you do it before we jump in.
Okay.
In the meantime, we're all learning the official definition of a headlands by Cardinal, who has informed us that a narrow piece of land that projects from a coastline into the sea.
Well, that sounds like exactly what this is.
Yes.
So thank you all. You guys are all so knowledgeable at home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to start about right here. So I'd say that's about 1/3 into our canvas. And we're going to hold it again perpendicular, just like we did our horizon line. And we're just kind of going to make some irregular shapes. We don't want our lines to be too harsh. And we're going to kind of swivel. And if you don't like how it ends up at first, we can always change it. That's the beauty of paint. It is permanent, but you can always touch it up with a different color or the color that you're working with right now, okay? And I like how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with that. But for you guys at home, I know I went kind of quickly. So let's try it again. And I'm just going to try to follow that line. You see how I'm kind of swiveling my brush. Like it's almost like it's dancing.
And what size brush are you using for this part?
This is a 1/2 inch flat brush, but you could also use a number 10 flat brush. Anything around a 1/2 inch flat brush will be a great option for this.
Okay.
And of course, something that's great to know, if you're using like a 6x6 canvas instead of this 10x10 that we're using tonight, it might be better for you to use a smaller flat brush.
There you go.
Because you're going to be making small bluffs. Okay, so now it's super easy, you guys. It's like it's almost like a coloring book. We're just going to color in the shape that we just made with our midnight. Continuing with our 1/2 inch flat brush.
Yes.
And I think we're making great time tonight, you guys.
Oh yeah, it's only 8:30. Doing great.
Yes.
Well, 8:30 on the East Coast. I don't know why, where everybody is, but. Someone was asking, Ashley was asking if you wanted to make the cliffs, more dimensional, which I think we're really just seeing the silhouette of the cliffs with the sun setting behind them. But if it was a different time of day, maybe you would just have to do that with light and shadow, right? Is that how you would do it?
Yeah, definitely. So this is just like John said, it's just the silhouette of our cliffs. But like John said, gosh, John, you should be painting this. I would use a lighter color, so maybe like our light blue, and I would just hit the tips of our bluffs to create some light. You could even, if you wanted to, create some shadow kind of in the corner where it would be casting a shadow. So instead of creating some shadow along here on our bluffs, I would suggest creating a shadow in this corner, because that's where the shadow is going to be in real life, because the sun's going to be hitting it from this way, because our sun's going to be back here, and it's going to cast a shadow right on the beach side going up to those bluffs. So some, touches of white even, or super light blue, like our light blue that we already have out tonight, and touch the tips of our bluffs, and then create that shadow right there with like a watered down, with actual water, a watered down midnight.
Cool.
Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue, you guys. So now we get to create our sun. So as you guys can see here, when I created this painting, it was a really warm, yellowy sunset. But in this painting, it's a little bit more rosy, a little bit more peachy of a sunset. And I still want my, my sun to have that yellowish hue. And I'll tell you guys a little secret. How I did that sun is I took the paint that we mixed very first thing when we started our painting, and I added a little bit of white to it. But I want my sun to be a little bit more yellow. So I'm going to take this paint that we made in the beginning with a lot of titanium white and a touch of red and yellow. And I'm going to take this paint and add more white and a little bit more yellow. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
And someone was asking if they wanted their sun to be just a half, you could have it lower in the sky. You could have it disappearing half behind the horizon line there, if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great idea. I would recommend using the technique that we use to make our bluffs. Either use a round brush or a liner brush to create your lines, whatever you feel comfortable with. Or you can do our technique that we learned tonight and make those lines with the tip of your brush. Or you could make a moon. I love that suggestion too. Just go ahead with white. Even this sun looks a little bit moony to me. So whatever your interpretation of it is, those are all fabulous ideas. Okay, so we are going to take our titanium white that we mixed with our yellow and our red that we made in the beginning. And if your paint dried up, it's okay. You can go ahead and make some more of it with a lot of white and a little bit of red and yellow. So we're going to take our yellow. Okay, we're going to add that to our mixture, and we're just going to add some more white to our palette. A little bit more yellow and a little bit more white. And mix it up. And just a little thing at home, you guys, don't be discouraged if when you're mixing your paint together, you don't get the perfect color the first time. I rarely do. I'm always having to add more of one color to really create the color that I'm trying to achieve. So if you don't get it the right time, don't be hard on yourself. I rarely do. See, I don't even like that. I want to add more white. Starting to like that better already.
Now, when you're adding water, do you wipe off your brush before putting it in the paint? Probably not, right? Because that was the purpose, to get some water in there.
Like for what technique? Do you have a technique in mind?
I think she was saying if you're dipping it in the water to thin out the paint a little bit, then you probably would not want to
Yeah.
dry it off first.
Well, that's a great question. So I would probably offload my brush a little bit. I would offload my brush, dry it onto my palette, just so I don't introduce my semi-clean water with a bunch more paint, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? I just don't want to muddy up this water in case I need to dip into it to add water to my paint, okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then just to remind everybody, tell them again how you made that new yellow color that you've got now.
Sure. So to make this new yellow color, you add, I would say you would add about a quarter size of titanium white and a little touch of cardinal red and a bigger touch of school bus yellow. And really any white, red, and yellow will work just fine. Okay?
Yeah.
Oops. All right, now it's time to make our sun. Okay, so we're going to continue with our flat brush, our 1/2-inch flat brush. We have some paint on our brush. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to mark where my sun is going to go. So I like it right here. Okay, can you guys see that barely? And that's just so I make a mental note of it so I know, so I can give myself space and room. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to start a little above where we made our mark, and we're going to hold it parallel again. Okay, parallel, so you guys can all see. And we're going to hold it upright and we're going to swoop around. Okay, kind of like we're making a comma stroke. We are going to swoop around and then swoop back around this way. It's like we're making commas. And if you didn't quite fill in the circle, just touch it up by making the same exact motion. We're making those comma marks. And if you don't feel comfortable drawing or painting a circle, I should say, you can trace something, you can use a pencil, but I encourage you to just go out and paint it. I think that you guys would do a great job. And we're just touching this up, just so it looks as close to a circle as we want it to. Okay, and I'm happy with that. How pretty, you guys.
Mm-hmm. Looks awesome. So yes, you guys can make your sun any color you'd like.
Yes.
Sometimes you get those like real pinkish red fireball looking suns. Other times it's much more yellow looking. So it's totally.
Yes,
to you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've seen a lot of comments. What if I don't have sand? That is totally okay. You don't need sand. It'd be fun if you did have sand, but you totally don't need sand to continue painting along with me. So I'm going to show you just how to mix a color with the colors that were in the supply list to make a color that's similar to sand. So we're going to take our school bus. Actually, we have these colors on our palette. We're going to take our school bus yellow. And I'm trying to decide which brush I want to use for this. I think I want to switch back to my 1-inch flat brush, you guys. So bear with me. Grab your 1-inch flat brush. Rinse it off. Dry it off. And grab your school bus yellow. Okay. Grab a touch of your cardinal red. A little bit more red. We are looking for like kind of like a harvest orange color.
Yeah. So this is, yes, Emma is just doing this. If you don't have the sand, she's sort of recreating that look with paint. Obviously, you can still go ahead and do that if you want to, because you're going to cover it with sand anyway, if you do have the sand. So it's up to you. But
Yes.
if you don't have sand, you can create the look with some paint, is to answer the question.
Absolutely.
So if you do have sand, you could use this opportunity to catch up on anything else. Yeah.
Yes, great idea. We're going to add a touch of white to our orange, maybe a little bit more white. And we're going to mix that well. Okay. And this really is the technique of the night, you guys. We're going to continue using, if you really dislike this technique, I feel bad for you, but I hope you don't, because we've used it a lot. We're going to take the edge of our brush, again, hold it perpendicular to our canvas, and we're going to make lines with it. This is groundbreaking stuff, you guys. And we're just going to make our little sand bay. So first we're going to outline it. And we're going to start about 1.5 inches above our canvas. And we're going to kind of do a little dip just to add some character to our painting. And yes, the colors we mixed here was a lot of school bus yellow, a touch of cardinal red, and a touch more of titanium white. And we're going to fill in that color. Beautiful. I'm gonna rinse our brush. And I see that comment, should we do this even if we have sand? It's optional, you totally can, but you definitely don't have to. Sometimes if there are some missing spots in your sand, it's just nice to have that paint as the filler so that you don't miss it, but it is totally, totally optional. And I see that my color looks pink. So what I would recommend for you to do, if your color is looking pink, add a lot more yellow. I'm sorry, I'm doing your job, John. Can you use treasure gold?
It's totally.
Yes, that's a great idea. You could totally use treasure gold.
Yep.
Okay, so now we are going to blow dry our painting one last time. Okay, the last thing we are going to paint on here before we start with our sandiness, we are going to paint those little pelicans, beach birds onto our canvas.
Seagulls, maybe?
Why was pelicans my go-to? I totally meant to say seagulls, but pelicans came out. And I grew up on a beach.
So
that's embarrassing.
Somebody was asking, or a couple of people have mentioned, like if you wanted to have that the sun reflecting on the water coming down, you could do that as well. Where would you just basically
great question.
put that? Yeah.
You could pick up some of this lighter yellow color that we made for our sun and maybe add a little bit more white and just kind of the perpendicular edge of your brush technique again and kind of swoop right here. And that's going to create some dimension. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we're going to do to create our birds, we're going to pick up some midnight. Oops. Okay.
What
we're
brush
gonna-
have you got there? A little
Oh, I'm
round?
sorry. This is a 0 round. It is a super, super itty bitty round, but anything like this will work.
Or
See how
like a
small it is?
liner brush or something like that?
Yeah, like a liner brush, a short liner brush or a thin round brush. Those would work great. Pick up some water. We want to water our midnight down just so it flows a little bit more smoothly. We don't want to water it down so much that it is like ink, but we want to water it down just so our paint can have a little bit more movement to it. Okay. We want it the same consistency as like chocolate milk or milk. Maybe I'm just a little hungry.
Maybe that's it.
Okay. So now we want to offload a good bit of that paint. Okay. We just kind of want it so it kind of looks like, this is going to sound silly, but like I just said, don't make it look like ink, but we want it to look like kind of like a quill.
There you go.
We don't want to have an excess of paint on our paintbrush. But we do, of course, want there to be a generous amount just so we can. And I just saw that. Yeah, I just saw that comment. What is offloading? So offloading is when you gather some paint onto your brush and then you wipe off some of that excess paint onto your palette. That's what offloading is. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are just going to draw little organic looking V shapes, okay? And I like to have them in a grouping so they look like they're a flock and that they're flying towards the sun. So another thing I want to make, I don't want to make them all the same size. So I want to make some bigger and some smaller because that gives our painting more dimension and it makes it look like some birds are closer to us than other birds. And this color is midnight, but if you don't have midnight black, pure black would work, licorice would work, navy blue would work, any dark blue or black would work great. And like I said, we are going to create different sized birds. That's going to give our painting some dimension. We want big birds, little birds, tall birds, short birds, blue birds, red birds.
All of a sudden it's a Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. So how's that?
That's good.
And those are our birds.
That was easy.
Yeah. Okay. Lastly, we are going to break out our Mod Podge Ultra and our sand and our seashells, the moment we've all been waiting for. And this is really what pulls the painting all together and makes it a really cool mixed media piece. It makes it look really different than all the other paint nights we've done before. But if you don't have any sand and you don't have any seashells, then this is your finished painting, Sunset Bay. Okay. But let's continue and we're going to start. I'm going to show you how to make that really cool sand detail. So we're going to set our painting aside for now. And I just have some like disposable bowls or disposable cups, anything that will hold in the sand. Probably best if it's disposable because a Mod Podge Ultra is a hardener and it is water resistant. So you don't want to put it in an ice bowl and then try to wash it out and it's already too hard and it won't come out. So just use something disposable. And we're going to pour in some of our sand. Okay. That's about good. We'll add more if we need it. And we're going to take our Mod Podge Ultra. There are two different finishes of Mod Podge Ultra. There's gloss and there's matte. It's totally up to you. Both will work great for this technique. Oops. And we're just going to go ahead and spray our sand. And the texture we're looking for here is like wet sand. Like if you were going to the beach and right where the water hits the sand, and it feels nice between your toes, that's the texture we're looking for. Okay, and you can either use like a popsicle stick or a disposable plastic spoon to stir this up. I'm going to use a spoon.
How much sand do you have in there? Maybe half a cup, I would say, something like that, right?
About half a cup. And you see how it's kind of crumbly right now? We want there to be more Mod Podge Ultra. We want the sand to be more dense so that when we pat it, it really sticks together. So we need more Mod Podge Ultra. It's too crumbly.
Yeah. So just going back for everyone, if you're going to do traditional Mod Podge, it would be more like the idea of painting Mod Podge onto the canvas, sprinkling the sand, and then letting the excess come off, sort of like you would have done with glitter traditionally. Right. But with Mod Podge Ultra, this technique is to mix ahead of time. So
yes, this is totally different technique. Ooh, I just sprayed myself. That's okay, it's non-toxic. Okay, this will probably be our last go with the Mod Podge Ultra.
And Mod Podge Ultra is super versatile. You could even, it's probably better to spray like she's doing so you don't get too much in there, but honestly, you can just take the cap right off and pour a little bit in, whatever, just as long as you're mixing it up.
Totally. Okay, break out your painting. Now that we have our mixture here, this is the fun part. It reminds me of like kind of those tactile, like elementary school crafts almost, but we're elevating it because we're adding some really pretty sand and some, of course, a gorgeous painting that we all just painted and some really gorgeous seashells. So grab your sand and just in our spoon here, and we are just going to kind of scoop it down. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. Everyone knows I do. Scoop it on there and just kind of pat it down. You can use your finger to pat it down. You can use your spoon to pat it down. You can use a popsicle stick, whatever you're comfortable with. It's not toxic, but of course, just wash your hands if you're using your fingers afterwards. And we're just kind of patting it down with whatever tool we're using. Our hands are tools, whatever tool we're using, and just creating that sand texture. And we're kind of keep adding our sand as we go.
Yeah, everybody's having a lot of fun. So you guys, a couple of people have mentioned this is their first class. So just make sure that you check out the Michael's Community Classroom page on Michael's website. So I think it's just literally michaels.com/classes. I mean, Jimena can put the link in, but there is a library now of, there's hundreds of classes out there, and Plaid alone has done dozens and dozens of classes in the past year or so, and Emma has done a bunch of classes. I know a lot of you are saying, oh, I love learning from Emma, so that's great. You can see her stuff. You can see, that she is Jesse's sister. So for those of you who are regular Monday night painters with us, and Jesse is one of our, yep. Jesse is, of course, have a lot of classes there. So check them all out. And they're all available on demand. They're all completely free. It's really an amazing resource.
They're all free. Why wouldn't you want to do it?
Right.
No, they really are awesome. And I work with some really, really great instructors that are humble and they love answering your questions and they love art and teaching and learning with you and crafting. So definitely check out the Michael's Community Classroom class page for previous classes and future classes with Plaid and just other ones that you see that are interesting. There are some really great opportunities to learn in a really inexpensive way. And also, if you love this class, like I said in the beginning of class, but if you're just now joining us or you didn't catch the beginning of the class, we have a Facebook group called Let's Paint with Plaid, where painters just like yourself at all different skill levels share their paintings in the group. Our resident artist, Andy Jones, does some great classes on there. So I'd love to see your painting in that Facebook group. Again, that's Let's Paint with Plaid.
Everyone thinks that you talk just like Jesse. You all sound the same,
Oh,
which I mean, I guess that would stand to reason, but
so does our mom when we used to answer the phone as kids. Who am I talking to? Emma or Jesse? Okay, so now another fun part, we get to embed our little seashells, and it's super easy. All we're gonna do, we have some texture here from the sand. So another thing to note, I probably should have mentioned this, and I'm sorry. You wanna have about like a couple millimeters of sand, just so that when you try to stick your seashell in it, it actually
Got
has something to grab onto, and it's not just touching the canvas, because we want to really embed it with the sand. So add our seashell, maybe add another seashell here.
so thick enough for it to really kind of settle down in there.
Exactly. And now what we want to do is we just want to spray our Mod Podge Ultra again, make sure it's nice and down there. And what the heck, let's go ahead and spray our whole canvas, since I already got paint on that one. I don't want that to happen again.
So what's cool about Mod Podge Ultra, guys, is that it's also a sealer. And is that that's the gloss one that you're using, right? The red one?
Yes.
Yeah, so it gives, by spraying the whole canvas, she even gives like a nice little glossy sheen, and it protects the painting going forward. So it's glue and sealer, which is great.
Yes, and of course we make Mod Podge Ultra, but even if we didn't make Mod Podge Ultra, I would still use it, because that's how great of a sealer it is. It really is like the best. It is awesome. And you guys, that is it. That is Sunset Bay. So let me show you all the painting that we will be painting next Monday. So like I said, Andy Jones, a fantastic artist here at Plaid, he will be painting this gorgeous floral painting, and it's called I Promise You a Rose Garden, which is so sweet. So make sure to tune in again the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time, Monday night. We do this every Monday night with Michaels. We love doing it. We're so grateful to be able to do it every Monday night, and to paint along with you all, and to teach with you and learn from you. So thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.